Hey guys, so I thought I'd do a little bit of a different video today. I'm actually in this live trade on EUR USD. So I thought I'd just literally turn my camera on and speak to you guys about number one, why I got into this trade, and number two, how I'm actually going to be managing it. We're close to take profit. We're only, I believe, at the moment, we're around 10 points away from take profit. So it should relatively be a simple trade. We should push to TP, but we're in the Forex space, right? Anything can happen. So at the moment, I'm up, if you guys can see that. There we go. So I'm up around $800. So we've been in this trade since this fair value gap down here. So let me break down number one, why I actually took this trade, right? So as we can see, it's following the exact same framework that I talk about on this channel, that I've been talking about on this channel for the past 1 year, and that is the Judas swing framework. So first and foremost, right here inside of this blue box, we've actually got the Asia session range. So the Judas swing for me starts at midnight and then it ends at 7 AM. That means within that time, whatever the high and the low point is, I mark it out. I use an indicator, marks it out for me so I don't have to do it myself. And then I simply just wait for a sweep of either side, wait for a market structure shift, take an entry at the fair value gap, and that's it, target the opposing liquidity. So it sounds relatively simple. However, there are a few different caveats, right? Specifically when trading currencies, what I like to do is incorporate the higher time frame, because without the higher time frame, we generally have a very bad hit rate. So we need to incorporate the higher time frame, and we also need to be in line with the trend. So this trade currently is based on the fact that we've, number one, got this massive daily fair value gap, right? So price is overall bullish, we're pushing to the upside, we've created a brand new higher high, and then we left this fair value gap. Price is now since pushed into this fair value gap, and then not only have we tapped into a daily fair value gap, but if we zoom out and we take a look right here on the left, what we can see is that we've also got an hourly fair value gap nestled inside of the daily fair value gap. So now if I zoom into current price action, what we did is we created the Asia session range just above that hourly fair value gap inside of the daily fair value gap. And then when the London session opened this morning, what we did is we actually came right here, as you can see, we swept the Asia low, tapped deeper into that 1 hour fair value gap inside of the daily fair value gap, and then we had this super impulsive push to the upside, which gave us a 5-minute market structure shift. So what this showed me is that not only do we have a higher time frame confirmation of the bias, we've tapped into higher time frame areas of interest, we've tapped into lower time frame areas of interest inside of the daily area of interest, and then we've had a 5-minute market structure shift after taking out liquidity from the Asia session range. You can see how many confluences are stacked on top of each other inside of this trade, and that is the entire reason why I ended up taking this trade. So once we got that market structure shift, I then took my entry on this fair value gap right here, and then since then we've been inside of this trade. And now at the moment you can see that this line right here is where I've trailed my stop loss, and the reason for that is because right here we had our initial market structure shift, price came back, closed out the fair value gap, and then we had a secondary confirmation of the trend and we got a break of structure to the upside. So once we get that break of structure, that confirms to me that we've now flipped bullish, and therefore I want to take some risk off the table. So I've trailed my stop losses about 0.2% in profit. Now if we go ahead and take out this low, then to me that's invalidating the bullish trend, and then we should continue lower from there. So I've gone break even, I've taken my risk off the table, and our take profit is right there at the high of the Asia session range. Now, I'm going to be taking profits there because this week I've taken a few losses, and you can see that by my MetaTrader. I'm currently negative 2% for this week. So if I hit this trade, I'm going to be back to break even. So I'm taking my profits initially at the Asia session high, and that's just because it's the opposing liquidity after sweeping the lows. However, if I wanted to, I could technically hold this trade until new highs, right? Because technically speaking, from a technical standpoint, we've had the pullback on the daily time frame into a daily area of interest. So from here, essentially, if we again jump up to the daily time frame, from here, technically speaking, from a technical standpoint, again, if we put in a higher high and we've come down and we've put in a higher low right here, from here we should push to a brand new higher high. Therefore, if I have correctly analyzed this trade, and this is where we actually get that pivot, that higher low, then this trade could run to a brand new high. That is the anticipation. However, me personally, having said all of that, I won't be holding this trade to new highs, just because, like I say, I like to target the lowest hanging fruit, especially since I'm on a challenge account, on a prop firm account. That means I want to take my profits, I want to get to break even, I want to get to a payout, and then I want to withdraw that immediately so I can bank the profits, right? If this was my personal account, then by all means I would leave a runner which would be swinging for a brand new high, but that's not the case. So because this is on a funded account, that's what I'm trying to do with this trade. So that is my reason behind it. That's why I've gone break even. That's why I've actually entered the trade. On top of all of those confluences, I also forgot to mention right here, you can see I've marked out the previous day low. So we swept the previous day low, we swept the Asia low, we tapped into an hourly fair value gap nestled inside of a daily fair value gap, which is all in line with the overall trend. We've got a 5-minute market structure shift and a confirmation entry. Everything is literally stacked on top of each other, telling me that I need to take a long, right? So because there's so many confluences stacked on top of each other, I executed this position. And that is number one thing that I really want you guys to understand, and that is when you are taking a trade, when you're about to execute a trade, ask yourself, why am I taking this trade? There's going to be times when I will literally sit here and I will narrate to myself what I'm thinking in my head. I'll sit here and I'll be like, okay, we've swept the previous daily low, we've now swept the Asia low, we've got the 5-minute market structure shift. So technically, if we tap into this fair value gap, that is the last point that price needs to mitigate before continuing to the upside. So that would be the optimum trade entry. And I will just narrate to myself what I'm thinking, and then I'm just confirming that bias inside of my head. I'm confirming all of the confirmations that I've needed to be entering into this trade. And if everything ticks off, I'll enter this trade. And now if it does take me out of break even, or even if I didn't trail my stops and it took me out a stop loss, I would be perfectly fine with that. And the reason why is because of everything that I've just said. I have literally confluence stacked so much to the point where if this trade goes against me, then I know I have done everything correct. And that is the position you guys need to be in, where you're literally confirming to yourself why you're entering the position. And then if it goes against you, so be it. It's just a statistical game in the market. That's simply it. So that is why I took this trade. Now, if we actually go over and take a look at GU, I didn't enter this position. However, I wish I did, because look at that. Exactly the same as EU. However, this already hit take profit. Now, the reason why I didn't enter this trade personally is because if we take a look at the overall daily time frame, right, we can see that the daily is bearish. We've flipped below this previous high low, and we flip bearish. So for me, the bias is that I should be looking for shorts, not longs. And because we've now tapped into a 4-hourly fair value gap, a bearish fair value gap, I'm more inclined to look for shorts. And because we had no higher time frame bias giving me an indication that I should be entering longs, I marked out this trade. But because that higher time frame element was missing, because of that, I didn't enter this position. However, this trade played out perfectly well, and EU is still chopping around. So it happens sometimes, you know, the trade that you get into might chop around for a while, whilst the trade you didn't get into ends up winning. So it's all just part of trading, right? So I thought I'd just jump on here to share this with you. And it's a little bit of a different sort of video. If you guys enjoyed this a little bit more and you want me to do more of these, let me know, because I'm more than happy to just flip my camera on when I'm in a trade and show you what's happening. So let's see what happens. Hopefully we can hit take profit on this trade. If we do, then it will be nice, because I'll be back at break even, and that should be smooth rolling from there. So we'll see what happens. Right guys, so news is just about to come out, and there we go, that's 12 o'clock. So news is out right now. Very anticlimactic reaction. I was expecting a lot more, to be honest, from the markets. So let's see. Oh, there we go. There's some increased volatility in the market. So hopefully this pushes us to our take profit. If it doesn't, so be it, right? Everything is in place. We've got our trailing stop in place and our TP up there. So let's see what happens with this trade. So half an hour after, well, 23 minutes after the news event has happened, price came all the way down into this last point of demand right here, tapped off of it, and we just had this crazy reaction to the upside, right? And now we're pushing again very close to the take profit. We're currently, what is it, just shy of 5 points away from hitting the take profit. So We're very close. I really did think we was going to end up hitting our trailing stops right there, but it looks like the last point of demand held in this series of order flow. So what I'm going to do is I am actually going to move my trailing stop just below this low, because now if we take that out, we have essentially broken our structure. But by the looks of it, this looks really, really good, right? We're close to our take profit, and I think we're going to hit it now, right? So let's see what happens. You never know with the markets, right? It could literally be 2 points away from a take profit, and it might take you out. So, and there it is, guys. We've just hit take profit on this EU trade. Boom. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. This is the very first time I've ever done a live trade where I've actually been in a trade and I've just flicked my camera on and spoke to you guys. So let me know if you enjoyed this type of content. Potentially I'll do more in the future. But if you guys did enjoy this video, then please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe, as it goes a long way into helping this channel grow and for me to continue providing all of this free education for you. But on that note, I hope you guys have an equally profitable day as I have just done. I'm going to lock everything off, hit the gym, and then we'll see what the rest of the day gives. But that's pretty much it. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.